Hey tubies! So I thought I would do this video and give you guys a start on where to start on your spiritual journey, whether you are wanting just to discover your own path or whether you're wanting to practice Wicca as a whole. That's absolutely up to you. But a great place to start, no matter what religious belief you have or spiritual belief you have, is the ability to start within. You need to start within yourself and finding out how much do you know yourself? How much do you understand yourself? What are the little quirks that you need to fix? What are your insecurities? What are your pros and cons? What are things that you're really good at and you feel good about yourself with? And how do you identify with yourself, with others, and even as a whole into society? Defining your individuality and your self-expression and the form of what way you like to express yourself. And do you feel confident in doing so? All of those are very, very important when it comes to developing your inner self and becoming self-actualized, opening your third eye and coming that full being potential, and potentially that full being that you really are inside, and that any of us can be and have the ability to approach, but some of us take lifetimes to be able to do. So it's always good to start somewhere. And I have lots of people ask me all the time, where do I start? Where do I begin? Well, you have to look at your surroundings. You have to look at your everyday habits. You have to look at yourself as a whole. And sometimes that's hard to do because there's a lot of things that you don't want to admit about yourself. Vices, vexations, anything that aren't very pretty, but you do need to face them. Your inner shadows, your inner demons. You have to face all of those and either grow to be comfortable with them and understand how to control them, or learn to cut your ties with them and let them go and replace that empty spot with something else that's more wholesome, that fulfills yourself, that makes you happy, that brings you to that peak of who you are. A lot of people will say that it has to do with health. Feeling healthy will bring you to that level. Yes, it does. Also, your chakras are another way of looking at it. Your energy cells. There's 7 points of energy throughout you if you ever research chakras. That is something we may get into in a video later. But if you have one of those that are imbalanced, one of those that aren't even opened, such as your crown. A lot of them don't even ever get to be able to be opened. It's just a ball that hasn't even been touched yet of the potential of one might have. And then there is also your confidence in society, your needs. If you were looking at Abraham Maslow's pyramid of self-actualization, the very base of it, before you can achieve anything else, is just being able to get your needs of food, shelter, and clothing. And that's pretty much psychologically what you need to be able to just survive in daily life. So there's a couple ways to go, and I think that being able to be comfortable with yourself is very important. Before you think about spells, before you worry about getting tools, before you worry about sacrificing anything, I mean, come on, you really don't need to jump the gun. Some of you, especially the teens, get super excited. I want to be a witch. I want to do witchcraft. I'm Wiccan. I read it in a book. I saw Tiptoe Chick in a video. That's what I want to do. I want to be a Wiccan. Well, that's great and awesome, but it just doesn't happen overnight like that. That's like somebody waking up one day and going, I'm going to go to Jupiter today. I want to be an astronaut. That's it. So I'm doing it. And you walk right into NASA and you strap on that belt and you take off to the moon or Jupiter or whatever you want to do. It doesn't happen that way. Years of preparation. Becoming one with yourself and understanding who you are can take a lifetime. I have been practicing my path for 16 solid years. Have had my questions all my life and grew up Southern Baptist and didn't feel right in a lot of things. I was very wholesome and pure and loved Jesus when I was a little girl. Not that I don't love him now. People getting all angry. But there's just a difference. I lost my connection with that particular deity and didn't feel that I didn't believe a lot of things and didn't feel comfortable with it. Not that I'm knocking it or saying that any of it's incorrect. It's just a different way of perceiving and believing how things work in the universe. I thought there was a lot more to it. And come to find out with a lot of research and reading and practicing that there is a lot more to it. That we all contain so much of the universe within ourselves. Not saying that we are ourselves gods, but we are of the gods. And we each have our own little piece in this universe that we contribute. And it's a great thing if you are able to learn how to do so and be able to achieve that fact. But it takes a lot of work. And there's still a long way for me to go. And I'm looking forward to the end and hoping that I can actually get there. And the same thing with you guys, but you have to start somewhere. Now, a great way of being able to find out who you even are is, I tell everybody this, but write a journal. A lot of Wiccans will refer to it as their book of shadows. You can do it as your diary. There are a lot of things that you just necessarily need to log down. Now, you can sit there and say, well, I blog every day. Well, that's great. And you make a video every day. Awesome. But how honest are you? You always hold back a little bit of information. There's a lot of things that you can't even admit to yourself, let alone put out on the internet for everybody to see. Everybody's great about putting their outer business for the whole world to see, but at the same time, you still don't face the vexations and the inner demons that you have and the insecurities that you have within yourself. The best way to do it is get a journal and write it down. It doesn't have to be fancy. You're not turning it into your English teacher at the end of the year or your professor to get a grade. It doesn't go on your, my mind just went blank on your transcript. To be able to get a job, it's simply for you and fulfilling yourself. Keeping a journal, and you can get a small little book and write whatever you want into it. But write it. Keep it away safe. Even if you can't even read it half the time, but have to get something out, write it down. Even if it's only a couple paragraphs. One of my English professors, one of the greatest things that he ever told me was, and it was rule number 1 when it came to writing, was write before you write. Don't think about what you're writing. Just write. If you get in that mood where you have your head going 100 miles an hour and you can't slow it down, or you don't want to slow it down, you want to think about this, but have nobody to negotiate or bounce off ideas with, write it down. It's great to be able to go back a year later, a few weeks later, even a few days later and go, wow, what was I thinking that day? And you can go back and read it, and you will totally understand yourself, and even understand yourself even more than you did when you were speaking what you were thinking at that time. So that's a good thing to do, and do that over time, as well as any other practices that you do. You want to be Wiccan, and you do want to practice and put a couple of rituals or a couple everyday things into your life. Okay, great. Well, start small. And like I have said before, pick a Sabbath or an Esbit, Esbit being the new moon or full moon ritual, honoring that day, or a Sabbath, which is the different turns of the wheels of the year, holidays. Practice one of those. Go around and collect as much information as you possibly can and get a separate book or separate page of a binder, notebook paper. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. It's just for you. Like I said, nobody's grading it. And write everything down. All the different things that you collect, write it down in one spot so you can refer back to it later. You're not going through 5 different books or 5 different websites or logging on or going through all your documents, or your computer crashes and you don't have anything. Get off the web. Get off the computer and put some real hardcore power into your book. It doesn't have to all be technological, and you will have more connection if you get off the computer, go outside, and get off the electronics and try some things once in a while. It makes a huge difference. So that's super, super, super important. I can't stress that enough. And a lot of you that message me on where to start and where to begin, especially you teens, your parents don't want you practicing Wicca. Well, I wouldn't want you practicing either if you came to me one day after I raised you Southern Baptist or Catholic for so many years, and you said, hey, I'm going to be a witch today. I just decided. I saw a Tiptoe Chick on a video, and I really like what she has to say, and that's just how it's going to be. Well, no, you can't, because why? How are you going to defend yourself? If they say, well, why did you decide to do that? Well, what are your real reasons? Do you even know? Do you even understand the concept of what you're trying to do? It takes a long time of life to understand, and there's different stages of life to understand where you're at and know how you're supposed to feel, or what you want to feel, or even what you are beginning to feel and what you need and what you want. There's two totally different things. A lot of you who aren't interested in practicing a particular religion of sorts and aren't interested in doing the whole wheel of the year and such, but want to fix yourself and feel more connected and more spiritual, I would suggest looking at chakras. Having imbalanced chakras and balanced chakras reflects everything around you. Everything. Everything contains energies. Having different pieces of you, imbalanced or balanced, those portals of energies have a lot to affect in how you handle situations, how you handle interactions with different people. It even stems to where psychologically how you interpret information, emotionally how you handle things that come your way, how you interpret love, how you receive love, your sex life. There's lots of things, even survival of life in general, just competition in society, and how you handle those things, loss of jobs, loss of a loved one. Everything has an effect on you, and when you get all these different energies all the time, every single day, because you're taking in all this information and processing it and logging it in and remembering it and not remembering this and suppressing this and being there for this person, it gets exhausting. I don't care who you are. It will wear you out. And it's just exhausting thinking about it. And it'll get you off track. What you have to do is remember to consciously take a step back. Reevaluate what's going on with you, where you're going and how you want things to be, and really focusing on fixing that. There is even studies and ways that imbalanced chakras can affect you so much that it will leak into your organs, into how your body in general works. If you are imbalanced in your root chakra, your sexual chakra, you can have digestive problems, you can have reproductive problems, not be able to get pregnant, not be able to produce the sperm to get somebody pregnant. You might not be able to have an erection to be able to produce sperm to be able to get somebody pregnant. You might not even have a libido to be able to do anything. You can have a cyst, you can have anything wrong with you because you are so imbalanced in that area. Now, I'm not saying that that's how it is for everybody. Genetics and things do come into that, so please don't read into my words, you logical thinking people, analyticalists out there that make me crazy sometimes because you look so much into stuff. You guys need to balance your power chakra because you're just adrenaline seekers and are always in a competition with somebody. But like I said, there's all kinds of different things, even to your heart, your green chakra, your love chakra, how you interpret love. There's some people who, how can I say this, overindulge in the fact of love. A way to put it in an example is you have the best piece of cake in front of you, or pie, if you're a pie person, but the best piece of cake in front of you. Oh my God, it is the best thing you've ever put in your mouth in your life. And you eat that piece of cake so fast, and it tastes so good, and you want another piece. You go to the kitchen, you get another piece. Well, you realize after you've eaten 2 big pieces of awesome cake that you feel like crap, and you still, honestly, it takes more and more of your time to get more and more, to get more and more satisfied. Instead of taking that glorious piece of cake, taking a bite out of it, and using all 5 senses to sit and enjoy it for a good 10 seconds for each bite. By the time you realize it, and if you have a balanced love chakra, you wouldn't even be able to finish that whole piece of one cake because you would have overindulged in the simplicities of using all 5 senses in just those few bites that you'd be full already and not need so much, not need to take so much to fulfill you. Now, a lot of these balancing chakras aren't easy. There's lots and lots of lessons that you need to learn, but it's a place to start, and that's my whole thing of putting this out there, my whole objective to letting you guys. There's so many branches and so many ways of going to develop yourself that you have to start somewhere. Think of your soul as a seed, and you want to plant this seed this spring because you're really excited, and it's like New Year's to you. It's a New Year's resolution. I want to grow my soul. Awesome. Take that soul, get your soil ready, and let's do it. That way you can grow your roots and your base. Pretty soon you'll develop your trunk, and then you're going to start branching off. Trees do not have one branch that goes up in the air. Poof, at the beginning or at the end, there's a big, glorious, beautiful flower or bush or whatever your foliage is that day. There are different branches and different ways of it to go. And some of them are weathered, some of them are broken down, some of them are regrown, some of them are trimmed every season. It just depends. And think of different metaphors that make you understand what you're trying to interpret, what you're reading in books. But the way to start is you need to look at yourself. Put away the spell books, put away your wants as opposed to your needs, and really figure out what you need to do to become balanced and assertive with yourself. And really, I would suggest you guys looking into a chakra book, even a beginner chakra. You don't have to go see a Reiki specialist. You don't need to worry about acupuncture and going to extremes on anything. Just do a little research. Write some things down and pay attention. Doing a little experiment on yourself. Write some things down every day, every time you get upset or when you have a happy moment, or log it down however you can. Doesn't have to be organized. And go back and look at it and see where your inconsistencies are and see where you want to improve yourself. That way you have some hardcore evidence of what to see, and you don't put that thought away that you really wanted to hold on to and waste the energy on trying to hold on to it and then end up forgetting it anyway. So that's some things that you can do. Now, besides that, there are a couple things I want to recommend if you are some type of person that likes reassurance in your life and want to incorporate some sort of magical item in your life. Besides books, you can, and going outside and having some meditation sessions. Contact with animals is always great. But get some form of divination, such as, I guess the big basics ones would be a pendulum. Yes and no's and maybes. Those are great to work with. And it's a stone that you can carry with you a long time. And they're easy to read. So if you ever want confirmation of it, to make sure you're kind of making a right decision within yourself, pendulums are great. You can also do tarot cards. It's great to do a non-formal layout every day or every few days or whatever makes you feel comfortable, to see what the cards say. What do the cards say? Do they relate to what you're thinking and what you're feeling? And then write that down in a book and compare it to, in your journal, and compare it to what has happened to you that week. Does it relate? Does it correlate? Does it really make sense to you? And if not, maybe you want to pay attention a little bit more to what those cards say. Regular traditional decks might be very, very hard for a lot of people to use. I know it took me forever to understand them, and I still don't connect with them to this day. I like oracle decks. I'm a very, very emotional person, and understanding and feeling is a great way for me to interpret things and perceive things. So my favorite deck in the whole wide world that I still use to this day, I've used all 16 years of my practice, is the Osho Zen deck. And there's other oracle decks out there, but these are all emotions. And I know some of you have seen these before, unstick them and such when I've shared them, but I'm going to share them again. But a lot of it is, you know, like intensity, conditioning, transformation. But these cards will go a lot with what's going on in your life, and when you really listen, they'll really knock down some walls and pull back some curtains and some layers of that onions of yourself, and help you understand yourself a little bit more. Things that somebody could tell you and pinpoint, but you wouldn't necessarily recognize yourself. These cards, oracle cards, are great to do that. So try those out if you'd like to incorporate anything. And also, I would like to suggest runes. Runes are great. You can make them by yourself. Collect a bunch of neat rocks and etch in or draw on or paint on the different runic symbols, and get you a basic book that's got some understandings, or look it up on the internet. Those of you who have access to my videos and get this information, I know you have access to the internet. Google this stuff. I know you can do it. and you'll get tons of information. So if you don't get your question answered right away, or you don't like the answer that I give you, or anybody else gives you, continue looking. There are thousands and millions and there's so much information out there. It's ridiculous. You don't have internet? Go to a library. Look at a book. Borrow a book from a friend. Anything. But like I said, if you're seeing these videos, I know you have internet access, one way, shape, or form. So, runes, they're really neat. And these have been used a very, very long time, and they have never failed me personally. But I like to use both. I interchange the two, it depends. And but I really, really think that that's a great place for a lot of you to start, and then grow from there. Try not to take on more than you can handle. Don't bite off more than you can chew. You really, really want to take things slow, and the fact of stressing to have a book of shadows or a journal or a diary or whatever you want to call it, you can call it whatever you want, it's very, very important to stress the fact that it's very important to have that. And all the information you collect, and you don't have to organize it right away. You will find yourself, as your practice develops, organizing it in your own way with different things that you collected, whether it be different colors, animals, stones, herbs, oils, books, different beliefs from different religions, anything. You could put all in this one book and have your own little reference guide. So that's going to be that for this video, and email me your questions on Facebook, particularly about magical stuff. Herbal stuff, email me at my email address, which is on thegreeneyedowl.org, and there's always new information on the Green Eyed Owl pertaining to Wicca and herbal stuff as well, so check that out. And I guess that's it. Those of you who, I don't know, last Friday listened to Blog Live Radio, there was a broadcast I did last Friday. I'm going to do it again April 22nd. The topic hasn't totally been picked out yet. We're still trying to decide exactly what it is. Last time was on herbal healing, and this time I think it's going to be a little incorporation of both magical and herbal sides. So we're going to see, but I'll keep you updated on that. So got more videos to post, and you guys take care. And I will see you again soon. Much love and light, and take care of yourself.